Before we get started, before the break here, it's really a great pleasure for me to have Patrick Woodcock from the Governor's Office here today. Patrick runs energy for the state of Maine for the Governor's Office, for the Governor, works with the Governor very closely. He has been a friend of floating offshore wind here for many years. We used to work with Senator Snow's office, who was our energy person in D.C., knows energy better than anyone else on the political side I can think of here. He's very well respected by both the R's and the D's, which is very unique in this environment today. Everybody listens to him. The governor listens to him. He is on campus today and agreed to come and just say a few words and to welcome you here to the state of Maine. Please help me welcome Patrick Woodcock.
Well, thank you. I always get into a room like this where I'd actually like to hear more from everybody in the room than I think you'd like to hear from me. It's what the university has been doing in shepherding a coalition on offshore wind and to move towards a floating technology, I think has turned a lot of heads. And it's nice to see that you've been able to create that collaboration here today. I don't know if Habib spoke about the conference at the White House on Monday. Was some of the people here today at that conference at the White House? I know Habib was.
Was here. Bo was here as well.
The thing that I found really striking is I think if you look at where offshore wind has been in North America over the last 5 years, and we really were, a lot of our policies were developed under an energy platform that was based on the world in 2007. And as we know, it's been a very disruptive 5 or 6 years in the energy markets, especially in North America. And one thing that I think the White House is really interested in doing is how does the White House over the last 18 months in office use the federal agencies to recognize what has changed? You know, and what the thing that I look at is cost. You know, I think we could do a very good job of delivering technologies under an electrical and energy market in 2007, 2008 with European technology. I think we knew that that could happen. The question is, how can we deliver offshore wind in an environment where costs have come way down for other renewable substitutes? The thing that they brought the state of Maine down for is what we are looking at to do is partner with the states of New York, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island to see what we can do collaboratively. A lot of what offshore wind has been, and still will be, is specific state PUCs, state energy offices, PPAs signed by different utilities in different states. But we have not really looked, and I think it's been a failure of the industry to look at what we can do across regions. You look at, you know, I started salivating when NYSERDA starts talking about their research budget and what Massachusetts has for, you know, doing a demonstration project in Massachusetts, what the opportunities are for collaboration across these regions. That conversation just started on Monday. We had our first meeting across those 4 states, and it's really exciting to think about what we can do, what Maine has done, what we can bring to the table, but also what the state resources of, you know, larger states can do. I guess I think I'd end by saying that you know, we have to recognize that for any state, you need to show a long-term plan to get to ratepayer benefits. Now that's the bottom line. We're not going to get the political support that we need to support R&D, higher contract PPAs, unless there's a clear route to delivering results. And I don't think that offshore wind, and I always think about energy in this way, that specific technologies is not a goal in itself. It's what the technology can deliver for energy goals. And if you cannot fit within a context of meeting energy goals, then we need to focus on the technologies that can. So I've been working on energy. Our environmental challenges have become more severe. And we really don't have the luxury to focus on technologies that can't deliver results. I think everybody would agree on that. So I think that the challenges have gotten more severe for offshore wind. I think that's absolutely clear. And the work that you're doing on bringing floating technology to be that disruptive technology, move down the cost curve abruptly, has been critical if we're going to have an offshore wind industry in North America. I would love to, if you have any questions with me, I'd love to hear from you. And Habib can share my contact information. I'd love to have more partnerships in the Northeast in bringing innovative technologies to the region. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Patrick.
Regional boundaries.
Well, so that, I would love to say, yes, we're going to do this tomorrow. I think the idea is with this collaboration is to start exploring those opportunities. But to be honest, what I started seeing, we had a very public, and all of you are aware of, very public fight on offshore wind in the state of Maine. And one thing that was just so hard for me to accept is if you look at what the other states spend on R&D and other PPAs, it would not have taken a lot for an offload for another state. But the idea of Maine taking 2 PPAs when none of the other states were taking PPAs was a lot for our state to absorb. And when I was talking to my counterparts, we're collaborating on hydropower, we're collaborating on natural gas, we're not collaborating on innovation. And so I do think that there's opportunity to look at, can Massachusetts, can New York support a demonstration project as well? The thing for the industry, and a lot of you guys are here, is the industry is pushing legislatures and public policy to say, bring European commercial technology and do a 500 megawatt facility off of Massachusetts tomorrow. I mean, that's where the money is, right? And I don't. They have a company and they have to push those things, but also make a push for those disruptive technologies. And I think we really do need, as an industry, to kind of push public policy to not only do commercial and argue for that in state legislatures and governor's offices, but also look for the demonstration things that can really drive down costs. And I could not agree more with, I think that has been one of the failures for the industry, that every state wants 100%. And I really look at it where if the Northeast became a leader, and even if some of those jobs are going to be in Rhode Island or Massachusetts, that is a rising tide for the construction industry in Maine and for our research at the university. And if we're going to move this forward, we got to do it collaboratively. So I asked, is the Department of Energy here? No?
We have NREL.
NREL. The thing that I've asked is, and I remember, the demonstration initiative target was 10 cents.
Yeah.
And there's a current, we had an RFP for renewables in the state of Maine recently where onshore and some PPAs have been signed for solar that is more in the 5–6 cents.
Yeah.
And my question to DOE was, what is best case scenario for offshore wind? It is not, to our European friends, it's not to marginally improve, get scale bigger, 6 megawatt machines. That's not the direction where you start getting into ballpark 5–6 cents. It really is disruptive technologies.
Yeah. But
what is the number? I think from a public policy perspective, you need to start showing a long-term price of between 6 and 10 cents. You need to show that we can get there. And I think from a public policy perspective, the public understands that a technology needs room to grow. But if the room to growth is something that is not competitive, it's hard to argue that we should support it.
So if I should kind of condense that, then if we took back and said 6 cents, that would kind of ring the bell.
Yeah, I think that's energy forecasting is very difficult, but I think that is the new reality of where the progress of renewables has pushed competition,
sure.
And that's a good thing. And I'll just finally note that I know this is named after Matt Simmons, and you know, just the passion that he brought to energy in general. And I only met him a few years before his early passing, and I just loved his drive to kind of change where energy markets are headed, where the state of Maine is headed, and just hope you guys continue in that vision today.
Thanks so much, Pat.